Good morning, everybody. I'm fresh back from retreat. I've got my buffs on. I'm ready to go. Voice is a little bit funky, as it always is after retreat. Really excited to be joining you and you joining me this morning. So if you're watching this live, give me a hello or a like in the comments box, or a love or a wave, whatever it is. And if you like this live, of course, share it, with your loved ones and people who you think may get value. So as always, while we're just starting this call 5 minutes early before, good morning, Christian, before we hit 9 o'clock on the dot, I'm going to do my quick share here myself. So I'm going to share it across a couple of my groups, and then I'm going to talk about this topic that is obviously the journey to 22 retreats. I got the guys yesterday at retreat as we're sort of winding down and waiting for everyone to be ready to depart the venue to give me some ideas in terms of what should I talk about today. And what, because as you guys know, sometimes I'm thinking of the topic while I'm in the shower like 5 minutes ago. But today I didn't have to wash my hair. I'm wearing a buff, so I'm going to do that later because I've got to get ready for my Mornington half-day workshop tomorrow. It's only 1 day rest here, tidying things up after retreat and then off to Mornington. So let me do the quick share across the groups here now. And good morning, James, my head IT crew at retreat. It was so awesome to have you there once again. All right, here we go. Author your way to riches. Hey, Carissa. All right, so all right, that's one group shared in. Now we're going to do one more, and then we're going to get going with the content. All right, and I'm going to share it into my Ultimate Business Support group, not my other computer down here. All right, perfect, done. All right, we're live across 3 different massive networks, and I can see lots of my gorgeous authors and previous retreat attendees have jumped on board, and the team is watching as well. So I've got 2 buffs here. We had a theme of Survivor, the show, the American show. Of course, the Australian one I think just started the other day. So we created these buffs, Nat and Stu, and we had 2 tribes at retreat, and of course winners, greeners. So the red tribe won. However, it was like a neck and neck. Like it was a tie break in the end. It ended up being down to number of pages in a book, I guess, of that. But the games were just a bit of fun, and entertainment to break up, I guess, something that was being created that's fairly intense. So I did come up with about 10 or 12 different things that I have learned over this journey. By the way, comment, like, whatever it is, as I go through, and let me know what your biggest learnings are as we go through the live this morning. We'll be here till about 9:30, so for the next half an hour. So yeah, I thought about, what was happening back at retreat number 1 and what is happening now that we have completed retreat 22, and what has improved. Because some of the authors the author actually who suggested this topic for this morning yesterday, she said, it would benefit those people who may be running their own events, certainly their own retreats, and give some ideas of what we should be thinking about that maybe you didn't think about back in the beginning and now you have improved into your system. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll talk about that, because certainly it's also good for me to reflect that where we are today was nowhere where we were at day 1, and certainly when you're beginning and you're starting out, and still to this day we think we're doing the best we can right now, right? But when we maybe do this live, a similar live after 22 more retreats, it will be like another level to where the growth has escalated. So you don't know what you don't know. You have to learn from feedback. You have to learn from some errors or frustrations that you have along the journey so that you can fix those, because usually we don't fix things because everything's hunky-dory and pleasurable and it's going well. You figure out something is really frustrating you. So I'm going to start with the first one that that was frustrating us. And James, I don't know if he's still on the call, but our IT guy, he suggested that we did this, and I can't believe we didn't even think about it. So techie stuff, techie preparation. So you guys, a lot of you may or may not know, our authors on the Friday night of retreat set up, they already have a mock-up cover. So that was something also that wasn't happening at the beginning. I believe the first 4 or 5, even maybe 6 or 7 retreats, we didn't do a mock-up cover ready for the Friday when we like, hey Sally, when we got to retreat. We started doing that, and we have a person that now does all of ours, and he's always ready, and he's never missed a deadline in terms of having his mock-up covers ready. And then when the authors would come to retreat, then we'd get them to jump on PayPal, set up a button so they could launch their pre-sales to their nearest and dearest. Good morning, Deb. Great to see you guys. When we would get to retreat, a lot of, on that Friday night after dinner, which is fairly late, between 9 or 8:30, we would get into this pre-launch setup. However, because most people don't tend to know their passwords, their logins, you know, you have to help some people who are not that techie with the PayPal setup of the button, then setting up a shortener like through Bitly and all this sort of stuff. It used to take us 3 to 4 hours on a Friday night, and nearly go till midnight to execute this and launch it, right? And James said one day, Nat, maybe at least, at the very least, we need to tell the authors before they come to retreat to know all of their logins and passwords for Facebook, for PayPal, for, you know, all of the bits that we're going to be using. And that got me thinking, and that was an amazing idea, but that got me thinking and going, why aren't I getting these guys to, why don't I record a little video that is going to show them how to set up a PayPal button and create a Bitly shortener, and like kind of giving them all these instructions. And of course, maybe not all of them will succeed at it, but at least if, you know, 80% do, and we're only helping 20%, we can execute this a lot faster at retreat. So I recorded literally a 5-6 minute screenshot video to tell them where to go, where to click, what to do. And that saved us 3 hours on a Friday night at retreat. So now we can make all the books go live within 60 minutes, all of them across. It was taking us 3 to 4 hours. Wow. So that was an amazing, amazing tip that now it reduces the stress. People needed to re-log in because they haven't brought the password. And it was very messy. So that we improved, because we certainly wanted to still end up in the SPA at 10:30. So now we're pre-launching it, say between 8:30 and 9:30 or 10 o'clock latest, which is a good time because actually still people are on social media, which is where they go out the most. And then, of course, we still have time for SPA o'clock and get to bed by pumpkin hour. So the techie stuff, so if you have and run events or retreats and there's something techie that people can set up from home and you can record them a video screenshot of what they need to do for themselves, that would absolutely save you so much time and headaches when you are there. Certainly, at the very least, passwords and logins for people to know them and to bring them into it so that you don't get stuck at the entry point of doing the strategy. All right. Pre-sales. So this kind of ties in to pre-sales that we start off on the Friday night. That again probably started happening, you know, retreat 2 or 3 without mock-up covers, without any mock-up covers. And so the pre-sales, again, were messy. They didn't have a system. So Stuart actually created a template Friday night post that the authors rejig for themselves, but some of them are not copywriters, right? You know, and they just need something that can happen fairly quickly and they can adjust for their own books. And as a result, of course, with all the strategies that we're teaching, in addition how to boost and where else to post this last retreat, we had an amazing record. We had the final result came in last night because we're waiting till midnight to finalize what was the highest number of books sold. And because the record, the current record, or the old record now, was 162 books sold in 48 hours. And it was beaten by 3 people, 3 authors this retreat. One was about 170, one was about 190, but the highest number of books ever sold in the 48 hours ended up being 444. How cool is that number? 444 books got sold by our gorgeous author Pam Burchell from the Sunshine Coast. Her book is called Brushstrokes, and very niche, which is really awesome. I love that. She helps people understand and know how to use chalk paint, and she has created her own chalk paint. So she sold 444, and overall for the retreat, I don't have the exact number, but it's over 1,000 books for sure. Over 1,000 books got sold across the 16 participants that were there, which is amazing. Like, it just literally, these guys are writing the books. They've put up a couple of posts in a few spots, and in the meantime, they're learning from me, they're executing stuff, and all of this is happening in the background. So that was the absolute record. And of course, that's a big change from retreat 1 to retreat 22, is that as we're going through, more and more books are being pre-sold because the systems are clearer, the instructions, the templates, the techie setup, and basically people are putting it out there and not wasting time on it. All right, so the next one was systems for everything. So not only did we refine the systems for techie stuff and pre-launching, we have refined pretty much written stuff, and even I've engaged our publishing team to give me the system for everything. Like that they do, our transcriptionists, our mock-up cover designer, the photography session that we do. So just literally to give like almost like create a procedures manual, so that when our authors need to know whatever stage they're at, more detail about something, we're not repeating ourselves, and they can just access that information in a shared Dropbox that we have with them. That's the other thing. I mean, we had the shared Dropbox from fairly early on, but that's an area where I give them viewing rights, and I continue adding additional resources. So even guys who were with us retreat 1 still get access to this Dropbox 5 years later, who now, it's now like 10 times the size of where it started. And that's where I continue to, that's my style. Like, you know, I say kind of work with us and you're with us for a lifetime, you know, and there's no further upsells and all that kind of stuff. We just invite them to come to master classes. We keep adding stuff into that, and we just continue nurturing our relationships for lifetime. That's the flavor and the family feel we want to bring in to what we do. So absolutely writing everything. And you won't know what your systems are in your own business, you know, until you start doing more things repetitively, and then you realize, shit, I need to document this. Which brings me to another thing that has saved me a ton of time, and that is the creation of the pre-2-hour session that I do with myself and Stuart do them nowadays. So we do a 2-hour one-on-one session with authors before they come to the retreat, which gives them the information of the 10 to 12 hours homework they need to do to get ready. So it's not a ton of work. So they need to spend one-on-one with us for 2 hours, and then they have 10 to 12 hours on their own to spend before they come to the retreat. Of course, some people spend more time, others less, but that is the average, and that is what I think should be spent. You know, we can't see what they're doing at home, but the reports back are about that much. And I know if I had to execute that work, which I can personally do in 3 hours, the homework, but I know for someone brand new would need triple the time or quadruple that time. So when I was doing this 2-hour one-on-one session, it was taking like obviously the 2 hours, but yeah, I started repeating myself a lot. And one day I thought, you know what? I need to document everything I tell them. And it ended up being a 22-page document. I mean, with the templates, with an explanation how to use those templates. So pretty much I educate them on how do you do this specifically for their own book. However, I now send them that 22-page mini manual, I like to call it, and I say, hey, spend 20 minutes just reading this before we jump on the 2-hour call, because then you kind of have a bit of an understanding what we'll be going through. And hey, if you're keen, you can kind of start nutting things out with it, because it does give them a step-by-step instructions on everything. And then we'll, you know, come together and I'll review what you've done. If you've done anything, if you haven't done anything, that's also cool. And so now when they come on their 2-hour call, sometimes we don't even need 2 hours because they've got everything documented. and they can refer back to, so then I don't have to say, I told them that, but they didn't hear it, because they've got it down on paper. And even to the point, last week I did a 2-hour session that lasted 30 minutes. Literally, this person, this author, she's so organized. She had absolutely done everything. So I just really came on the call to give feedback, to tell her the next steps, to clarify a couple of questions, and say, well, what's the point of us really sitting here and wasting time? If you need further mentoring, let's use that time elsewhere and go on. So that has saved me a ton of time. So if there's something that you need to do, like say you have a pre-coaching session with a client before they come to a specific event, how can you systemize that pre-session, so that they're given the information, so even after you've spoken to them, they have something back to refer to, and that cuts down a lot of emails, a lot of questions, saving you more and more time. So all of these things that I'm telling you guys ultimately are saving me so much time that I have, of course, I've then got that time for my life and to do the things I love to do. Even though I love doing other things, I don't need to do stuff that can be really, really, really repetitive. So the pre-2-hour session mini manual was absolute gold. The pre-tech, so this is, see, kind of there's a little bit of a pattern here of the changes, that bringing in a lot of things that you can do pre the main event, right? Pre the session is so helpful in saving time. And literally today, my only homework that I have after retreat, usually you finish an event and you've got to wrap up that event, right? Well, now during retreat, I'll share my Dropbox with the authors. I'll get their correct details. I'll get all the financials are also done prior. But whereas at other times, what we used to do is get the easy pay forms at the retreat for the post payments. Oh, talking about payments. Okay, that's actually a learning that I didn't put down on this sheet. So what we used to do is, like, we have like a deposit, and then we have the next chunk is a larger chunk that they need to get up to a certain level to attend the retreat. And then there's a series of 11 or 12 monthly payments post-retreat. So it spreads it out for people for better cash flow and all that. Mistake. I would get the deposit, and then it doesn't matter when the retreat was, it would then go, okay, so the next chunk, let's call it $6,000, would need to come just before retreat. And what was happening is that people were not, segmenting the money for themselves. So when they had to pay the big chunk, all of a sudden there was an issue or something like that. And then at retreat, I would get the easy pay form and set it up. So now, and that caused a lot of trouble and bad kind of outcomes for us, and obviously stress for people. So I said, okay, the new rules are you're going to pay your deposit, then we're going to divide all your installments of that, let's call it the $6,000, over the, if you have 6 months lead up, whatever, 9 months, we'll just split it up, and you're just going to go on your easy pay from the beginning. And by the time you come to retreat, you've got your cash flow sorted. And then after retreat, you will do whatever the other installments are. And it's going to be all set up pretty much the minute we arrange agreements, all that kind of stuff. And that in itself, it's good for them, because they don't, like, not every one of us is great at setting aside funds and all that kind of stuff. So it was great for them, great for our cash flow, great for a system for not to have to follow up. So once it's set up once, it's done for the rest of the time. And also, for the last 12 months, we have not had any stress around that ourselves or our clients. So that was another thing that has changed, that it was very messy. Only like about 12 or 18 months ago, like it was still happening. So that was one that that you need to be mindful of, is how can you devise what people, if you financially have a large sum that your program is or whatever it is, how can you devise it, but also be collecting it along the way, rather than having a big gap from the time a person commits to the time they come. It can, the energy and the shift in how they feel changes along the way. So, and that way, in the whole time, also we allow them to access any of the stuff while they're waiting for their retreat. And trust me, the retreats come around so fast. So the next one is finding clients. a lot of people can see what we just did on the weekend and go, oh, I want to be doing what she's doing, or, you know, that's awesome. You know, they're like, you know, they just see the final outcome. However, for us to execute 4 retreats a year, we need to be, you know, working the whole year. So we do 35 half-day workshops. Tomorrow is at Mornington one, and then we have a series of 9 that go interstate from the 21st of August, all over Australia. And so until we found our flow, where we should go, what time of the year we should go, how the event should run, and the micro adjustments that we've made when we say certain things and how we do it. So it's a wonderful experience. It takes the person through a journey, but also then has a wonderful outcome where we get to help more people. That is the thing that has been a constant and never-ending refinement. And you need to watch, so that front end of the funnel, you need to really watch how it's working, so that it ultimately gets to a point of flow and consistency. And then you have something that is really easy to run and continue to replicate. So the refinement, you know, there's things, you know, like giving everyone a book when they walk in. Now we've done another change. Now we have a standard ticket and a VIP ticket. So that's actually been new as of the last 2 months. This is for our half-day workshop, and it means different things for those 2 different levels. So we're testing that, and it seems to be working really, really wonderfully. And actually, we're seeing 50% of people upgrading to VIP, which is also amazing to see. So so there's just so many little tweaks. So in the beginning, it may have been massive changes where I would change half the content in my half-day workshop. Good morning, Alan. Head crew. You know, James is our head IT crew, your head crew. So a lot of little minute big changes in the beginning, and then little ones and micro adjustments at retreats and at the half-day workshop. And of course, the utilization of Facebook advertising. We've been doing that now consistently for 4 years. A lot of people, when they see me, they guarantee they've seen my ad somewhere, or they meet me, oh, I've seen your ads on Facebook. But just, of course, there's been so many changes in how we've done ads. What's worked 4 years ago certainly is not working nowadays. And to educate ourselves on those changes, and I'm not in charge of that. Stuart took that over from me about 2.5 years ago. It has been, you know, up and down. You've had to ride that boat, or ride that wave, not the boat. I'm I'm not an Aussie when it comes to the correct way to say sayings. You know, I say, I'm making the bacon, and people say it's bringing home the bacon and all that sort of stuff. All right, so I've got the next one, themes and games. So we've always had fun at retreats, right? Every retreat, I have to say, it's been super fun. Come home, you know, absolutely stoked. We knew that, we've known that people have had an amazing time. Never have I come home with a feeling, oh, maybe that one wasn't so good, right? Amazing. But what have we evolved and changed into is, after about 6 retreats, we started bringing in a themed night on night number 2, which started off very easy. Our very first theme was black and white, like just come dressed black and white at the second night dinner. And then we went into different ones, and then I challenged myself that I promised myself that every retreat will never have a repetition of a theme that we have done before. So we're sitting here at about 16 themes later and 22 retreat songs, because also the retreat song cannot be the same, but has to be inspirational in terms of what we're doing. And so this retreat, you guys know, was Survivor. Last retreat was Flying. The retreat before that, we had Hawaii in Dubai. So we've had many different things, and we create stuff for them. And now, even this retreat, we had the 2 tribes with quite a few games. Now, none of these things take a lot of time at retreat, you know, if you have the pre-preparation done, right? If you pre-prepare, if you think through your games, your tiebreakers, all that kind of stuff, they just take 2 or 3 minutes just to break up and create a little bit of energy and all that sort of stuff. So really, this retreat that we just did, had the tribes and a few extra games. Like we have other things like the pre-launch who sold the most books and potato exercise and all that, but we created it as a little bit of a, you know, a scavenger hunts, category stuff and all that. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I think everyone else also did. If the authors are watching, let me know what you thought of the games. Yeah, the retreats became more, whereas in the beginning it was just the Saturday afternoon thing. Now they're kind of starting to flow through the flavor and the feel, and we're tying in the retreat theme with the song. So of course we had Destiny's Child Survivor as the song. You know, when we had the theme as fame, the song Fame was our song. So we're starting to, like, you know, have that, you know, really attention to detail, if you like, whereas we might have done one thing. So as we're going along, we're adding more and more detail to what it is that we're doing. How can we do this better? Another one thing that I actually did this retreat that I had never done before was I usually, obviously, we create the mock-up covers for the authors, but this retreat I decided to personally print every mock-up cover, laminate every mock-up cover, and take that as a gift to the authors, because I actually encourage them to that once they get home. I thought I'll just get this done, and he played various different parts where they could use those mock-up covers and take that back home with themselves. And it took me like about half an hour to get that done. Again, pre-preparation, but again, bringing that little detail and those little surprises along the way. So what kind of surprises can you have for your people? And of course, having crew. Okay, so let's talk about crew, because my crew has been on. I don't know if they're still watching. The gorgeous Helen crewed for the second time with us. James has been, I think, 10, 11 retreats. So I've even lost count now. James is just part of the furniture of the family. You know, he's from Right Click IT, and he helps with all the IT kind of stuff. And he wrote a book called What the F is the Cloud, right? And so we didn't used to take crew. Up until, I would say, probably was 8 or 9 retreats. We didn't take crew. Not that we realized, you know, we super needed it, but you know, then we slowly kind of realized, okay, let's give it a go. And I think first we tried it with James. I think James was the first one, because we thought IT is really helpful to have there, so we can answer all of the other mentoring questions and things like that. And so then, by James being there, we realized, okay, so if we can have one other person, he can take care of the other IT stuff, and the other person could be sort of kind of my right-hand woman or man. And so people like Helen, you know, God, we've had Penny, now Megan, we've had Sally one retreat, Kylie's been to a couple that she's crewed. So I'm very grateful for our past authors, our published authors, who do want to return, and I guess they want to see the experience from a different angle, you know, which is awesome, and help others, you know, push through this quite awkward and first time process for themselves. I've refined. I didn't have crew instructions. So again, I brought in a system for that, and I have like a 5-6 page little instruction booklet for how things are set up in the room in the beginning, what they should look out for, how they should introduce themselves, how to help out throughout the weekend, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been invaluable having crew. We've introduced Crew O'Clock. Crew O'Clock happens at the second recording hour of the first day. So we've settled in, we've done a bit of stuff, we've gotten to know a couple of people, and then we sort of chat behind the scenes, like, how's everyone going? And we have a couple of drinks, of course, during that, before a night number 1 dinner. And that's become a bit of a tradition. Crew O'Clock, okay, let's go to one of the rooms, usually my room, and we have a couple of drinks, and we discuss how everyone is progressing and who needs a chat and all that kind of stuff, because it's really important that we manage the well-being of our authors throughout the process, because you never know, if someone can go really quiet and they could be going through a lot of emotional stuff, which writing a book can bring up. Debbie's saying the games were fun. I love the candle, very important, and treasure hunt particularly promoted teamwork. Yeah. The scavenger hunt, that was a fun one. I love seeing you guys run around the room. I had a ball crewing again. Yeah, Helen, and I hope you come back again soon. So, yeah, guest presenters was the next thing I have on my list. So we never used to have any guest presenters, if you like, in the beginning. And then, of late we've had Kate Engler, the publicity queen, coming into a publicity segment on the Saturday second teach segment, and that's been wonderful. She's just a very similar energy to what we do, funny, entertaining, as well as gives a ton of value to the authors. So it's wonderful to have her come in. I bet you learn a lot each time, Helen. Yeah, that's from Liz. I'm talking to Liz at 3 o'clock today. So Kate Engler has been coming in quite regularly now. I think it's her 5th or 6th retreat that she pops in and has a talk to people. James, our IT person crew, we do half a segment each together on IT, because sometimes his IT brain can make some of the non-techie people a little bit scared about what they need to do. So I dumb it down, so we do sort of half a segment each. Stuart's done a segment. Francesca Moya has come in and done stuff on social media in the past. She's actually coming to the November retreat to write another book. So bringing a guest presenter has been great to just give all the authors learn from a different person and perspective, and it gives me a bit of a rest. I enjoy giving them sort of a variety of things, because then, on the Sunday they get to meet their publisher, they have their photography. We actually spread the photography and publishing chats over 2 days. They actually arrived in on the Saturday, so they spent that evening and afternoon with us. And so there's a lot of moving pieces and people to organize and coordinate, but once you have the systems, literally, you guys, it's just a matter of kind of the week before thing. Hey, just confirming this, because I have made sure that we have aligned with people that follow through on their promises, that stick to timelines, that are on time, and that have the energy that we do, so that it's a consistent feeling of flow. Does that work every single time? There is hiccups here and there. Nothing's going to be perfect. But I think, we have got this mastered to a fine art. If it's going for 22 retreats, and I really cannot see an end to it. I'm loving it so much that you can see us sang and screamed so much that my voice is, a bit gone. And just holding the energy for these guys, then seeing them get their books and having them at group book launches, even the group book launch stuff and system has refined and done. We've done so much, improvements in that. But if anything, if I could summarize it, as we are nearing 9:30 this morning, document everything you do. Look at how you can add more attention, have more attention to detail as you go through the journey. Know that sometimes you will have certain things that may not turn out the way you thought they would. How can you fix it, and bring it back to what you want it to be, and know that if you are going to create an experience, and really the value, of course the value is in the result and the outcome, but I believe a significant portion of the value when people work with you is in how you make them feel and the experience that you provide for them, that they can hopefully remember forever for the rest of their lives. I know we do that because whenever we go to retreat, we have so many posts from our previous authors going, I remember mine, and I remember this and that, they comment and they share and they support, which is wonderful for the ones that are going through it and then I'm in the middle of it. So it's a very rewarding experience. It's hard work to get there, to arrive, to find the needles in the haystack all over the country and the world and all that. And however, it's something that I'm taking as my memories that I'll keep for a life. And because I do make every group be different with a theme and their song and the people, how I remember them, kind of they're my 22 families. So the other day we started calling our final photo our family portrait. So I said, come on, time to take the family portrait before everyone goes off to do final logistics. And yeah, so that's been my journey in 22 retreats. I've broken it down. I think, the last one that I have on my list, but I didn't talk about, is the people we attract has evolved as yet. It has evolved also. So the types of personalities, the quality of people, the mindset, and we have really refined our no dickheads radar to make sure that we're keeping a certain quality of people and that we qualify into the program. So when I decide who comes into the retreat, it has to be through a qualification one-on-one discussion with either myself or Stuart. And if we ever make the wrong decision, you know what? Those people just fall out of the system. They kind of either decide it's not the thing, or and or we have fired people before. So Kitty celebrated my 40th birthday retreat. Yeah, it was on a Saturday night, so that was space. Your retreat was space, and the song was the final countdown. See, I can remember when an author comes, I go, "What were you dressed as on the fancy dress?" Now I usually can remember that, and then I can tie up the song as well. So if you have any questions or comments, as this is obviously being also watched as a recording, or if you love it, tell me what you loved about it. What was one thing that I said? But these are just some of the things. I'm sure if I sat here for another half an hour, I could probably come up with lots more. But just turn up, do the best you can. Know that when you put your head on the pillow at night, you have done the best and for the good of everybody, and that with honesty and integrity, and just support your people all the way through the journey, so that they can get the result that they came there for. And don't let them off the hook. Keep them accountable. Keep them, focused, and building accountability. That's another thing I created. We have automated and personal accountability. So yeah, and go and smash out your goals. I know a few book publishers, but my subconscious told me I need to do your workshop. All right, Liz. Well, we are going to chat at 3 o'clock today, and see what you're about and what your book is about, and whether you like what you hear, and if it's a good match, then let's see. Wonderful things can happen, and then I'm talking to someone in Dubai after that, because in Dubai and internationally, with Mustafa, we have started working with people remotely, because my decision was not to travel. Hey, Joanette from America, my USA client. Yes, we decided that the travel for business internationally for me was energy-wise not the best thing to keep going with. So we have built a system of how we can help people remotely. But for those of you in Australia, there's no excuse. You have to come to retreat, because retreat is the ultimate, right? It is the ultimate. I know, because Bridget traveled all the way from Phoenix. Laura from New Jersey is coming soon. There's people, and Lillian from LA. No, now she lives in Phoenix. She's coming soon as well in the February retreat. So if you can get to a retreat, don't say I want to do it remotely, because that is the ultimate. That's where you get the community. That's where you get the support, the energy, of course the fun, and the engagement and all that sort of stuff. Remote is there for those that absolutely cannot travel. Absolutely, are just. But if you're here in Australia, I won't let you not come to retreat. All right, guys, I'm gonna go. Have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go unpack, repack for Mornington tomorrow. So we can host a half day there, redo this hair underneath, and then talk to Liz and Sarah from Dubai. So have a wonderful day. And if there is a topic you want me to talk about next week on Monday Morning Live with Nat, I'm happy to bring it to you. If you loved it, write a comment, share it, and send me lots of love hearts. Bye. Mwah.